Hari Om to all. Let me start with a short invocation, a prayer to Ma Saraswati. Sura Sura Sevita Pada Pankaja, Kare Virajat Kamaniya Pustaka, Virinchi Patni Kamala Sanasthita, Saraswati Nrityatu Vachi Me Sada. Hari Om. Today I am going to speak on Bhumi Sukta, the Prithvi Sukta or Bhumi Sukta. Before I start Bhumi Sukta, I mean, it's a very big sukta having 63 mantras. The sage is Atharva sage. This comes in the Atharva Veda. But does it mean that in the Rig Veda there is no glorification of Prithvi? It's not like that. In fact, right from the Rig Veda, we have the eternal parents. These are the eternal parents, the Dyava and the Prithvi. The heaven and the earth are the eternal parents of the mankind, all the beings and all. But whenever we say Bhumi Sukta, what comes to our mind is the Bhumi Sukta of Atharva Veda, the 12th Kanda, the first Sukta. You know, Bhumi is so varied. She is called Prithvi, Prathanat Prithvi. She is called Kshama or Kshma because she is all bearing. She forbears, she forgives, and she sustains all of us. She is Vishwadhani, Vasudha, Vasundhara, Ratnaprasuhu. So many names are there. So many water streams flow on her. So many mountains are there. So many valleys are there. You know, I would like to remember just last month, even it's not even a month, 22nd of April, we celebrated International Earth's Day, right? And within a month now, we are eulogizing Prithvi. I feel this is something which is very coincidental for us. So let us start with the Prithvi Sukta. Now, Rigveda praises this natural phenomena. Normally, Prithvi, Ap, Tej, Vayu and Akash. These are the natural phenomena which get deified in the Rigveda as the deities. Okay, and therefore we have the Prithvi and the heaven, which are combinedly called as Rodasi or Krandasi or Dyava Prithvi. They create the entire universe. It's only the Prithvi, not only Prithvi, but the heaven. They create the entire universe. They are benevolent to all, as all the parents are to their progeny. In the Rigveda, it is said, and Atharva Veda also, it goes that Syona Prithvi Bhava Anrikshara Niveshani Yachanaha Sharma Saprathaha. O Prithvi, Syona Bhava, be wonderfully compassionate and merciful to us. Anrikshara, without any thorns, without any thorny kantakas and bushes, you know. And Niveshani, you provide us good abode and dwelling. And Yachanaha Sharma, please give us all that happiness, all that joy, and make our path wide open. So this is how Rigveda also praise his Mother Earth. She is compared to a milk cow. She is a Kamadhenu. And the heaven is a vigorous bull. Bull, Vrishabha. Again, you know, very interestingly, Vrishabha has two meanings. The Oriental scholars, especially Sayanacharya, who has commented, the 14th century poet, philosopher and Bhashyakara, a commentator, he says, you know, that Vrushu Sechane to shower. So one who showers what? The liquid from the heaven, that is the rains. Kerala is having heavy rains, by the way. Okay, so that rain is that divine fluid which sustains all of us. So that is Vrishabha. And the Western scholars normally talk Vrishabha as a bull, a mighty bull. It's a physical prowess which is emphasized there. So many suktas glorify earth, but when it comes to Bhumi Sukta, it is always the Atharva Vediya Bhumi Sukta. Now, Atharva Veda 12th Kanda, first Sukta. At this, what is the Viniyoga? You know, every Sukta has a Rishi and a Viniyoga when it is to be implemented, when it is to be recited or chanted. So what is the Viniyoga? There are multiple n number of implementation occasions. One is for Shala Nirmana. Shala is not a school. Shala is any construction, a house, a dwelling, an abode, a premises. So Shala Nirmana. Then during a ritual called Agrahayani Ishti, this sukta is chanted. This is also a Paustika Karma. Paustika Karma, Atharva Veda is known of Shantika, Paustika, etc. So Paustika Karma, any nourishing activity, that time it is recited. Then at the time of earthquakes, oh Mother Earth, please don't get angry on us. Please calm down to quieten the terrible, terrifying and quaking Mother Earth. This sukta is recited. And generally it is the protection of the towns, the cities, the people. This sukta is recited. And Shanti Karmani, the pacificatory acts also, this is recited. Now, since it's a very long sukta of 63 mantras, I'm not going to give the translation of every mantra. It's not possible in 1 hour to finish off everything. But some important things, and I'll go by the themes later on. So first, of course, I would like to deal with the first mantra, Satyam Brihadritamugram Diksha Tapo Brahma Yajnaha Prithivim Dharayanti Sano Bhutasya Bhavyasya Patni Urum Lokam Prithivi Nah Pranotu. What does it mean? It means the great Satyam, Brihat Satyam. You can see my cursor. Brihat is the great, Satya is the truth. And Ritam Ugram. Rita is the right. Rita is the cosmic order. Rita is the moral law. How it is? It is formidable, unavoidable, and compulsory, obligatory. And Diksha, consecration. Tapaha. Tapaha is austerity. Tapa is penance. Tapa is any effort which you do to achieve your desired goal. Striving hard, making efforts is tapaha. Then Brahma. Brahman is prayer. Brahman is the highest, the ultimate reality. Brahma is Veda. And Yajna. Yajna is not just a sacrifice wherein the oblations are offered. Yajna also means Tyaga. Because Dravya, Devata and Tyaga, this is the Trisutri of any sacrificial ritual. So this Prithivi bears all this. She sustains all this, and she is the master. Patni, Patni here doesn't mean a wife, Pati and Patni. It is from Pata, Palaka, protector, master, and this is the feminine form of that. So she is the protector, she is the master of the past as well as the future. Bhavyasya. Urum lokam prithivi naha pranotu. Let that earth make this loka, make this world uru, wide for us. Naha, for us. Now here some of the words are very tricky. For example, Satya and Rita. You must be remembering Anrita also. Anrita is the opposite of Rita, and Anrita means Asatya. So then what is the difference between Satya and Rita? Satya is a universal truth and Rita is a dynamic truth. Satya is static, it doesn't change. It was there in the past, it is there now, and it will be similar in the future. That is Satya. And Rita is a changing cosmic order, something which is in flux, that is called Rita. And by the way, Ritavan is Varuna and Usha is called Ritavari. So this is the difference between Satya and Rita. One of the meanings of Rita is also Jala, water. So this is Jala Yukta. So the Prithvi, 3/4 of this earth is covered by water. So she abounds in watery mass. That is also one of the meanings of this. And let this Mother Earth be sustained by abundant water. Let there be plenty of water. Every now and then the seers are saying Let there be plenty of water for drinking. Now, recently we know that Cape Town has been declared as the first town which is without water, without potable drinking water. So to avoid such type of calamity, we have to ensure that there is plenty of water on earth. Now, Prithvi Krunotu is something which is a Vedic form of root kru, that is Karotu. So let this Prithvi make this wide room for us. Let there be plenty of space to reside. So these are the things which make the world going, which make the world moving. Now, I happen to read Pandit Satavadekar, Shripad Damodar Satavadekar, who has published all the Vedic Samhitas from Pardi, Gujarat, and he has given a very wonderful interpretation of many of the suttas, especially this. He himself was a freedom fighter, and he said that this sutta served as a Matrubhumi Sutta for the freedom fighters, and this served as a national anthem for them. And for motherland, he interprets the first verse in a different manner, and he says that the people who have to fight for the release of motherland from the foreign clutches, from the foreign invaders, how they have to be. They have to have many qualities, many virtues, and what are they? They are truthfulness, they are the perfect knowledge of Rita, the martial spirit, that is the Ugratva, the perseverance and the efforts, which is tapas, enthusiasm and enterprise, which is diksha, ultimate knowledge, that is Brahman, and clarity, charity and sacrifice, that is tapas. So this is the Matrubhumi Sutta and not just Bhumi Sutta for Pandit Satavadekar. Now let us see some geographical descriptions which occur in this sutta. This earth, which was once submerged in the waters, it was, Salile Nimagna, and it was uplifted by Vishnu in the Varaha incarnation, in the boar incarnation. We all know that story, but it has high and low on her. There are high mountains and low valleys, and there are plain grounds. So this Pravata, Udvata and Sama, these are the words which are used in the Atharva Veda. Now may this Prithvi spread wide for us and be prosperous to us. Prithvi naha prathatam radhyatam. Prathanat Prithvi, that which is spread widely, that is vastly. Uru, cheese Prithvi, and radhyatam, let her be nourishing towards us. Radha samsiddhav, so radhyatam. Earth is adorned with the oceans and the rivers, and people enjoy the food which is produced by her and drink the water which is provided by her streams, by her ever-flowing water bodies. Sano bhumihi purvapeye dadhatu. Let that earth give us, provide us, purvapeye, the ancient most water. That means the water which is there should not shrink, should not evaporate. The water must flow on the earth forever. Sano bhumihi, let that earth, tvishim balam rashtre dadhatu uttame. Let that Prithvi give in the Uttama Rashtra, in the best of this nation, the Bharata Varsha, what? Balam, the strength, and Tvishi, Tvish is the Ugra Teja, that the fighting martial spirit. This earth is spread in all the directions. Chatasraha Pradishaha. So there are Dishaha and Pradishaha, the directions and the subdirections. Bhagambarcha Prithvi no dadhatu. May she give, may she assign fortune and splendor on us. So that is the Prithvi. Earth element of the Prithvi. Let the hills and the snowy mountains, the forest lands on this earth be pleasant and comfortable. The soil on this earth, the earth is not uniform. Wherever you go, because of the iron content in the earth, you see there are various colors. So she is Babru. Babru is brownish, tawny. Krishna, that is black. Rohini is red in color. So Babrum Krishnam Rohinim Bhumim. This is the earth on which the yajnas are performed. The altars are built. The Vedis are built. And Vedi is nothing but the Nabhi of the Prithvi. She moves fast at times. She trembles. She quakes terribly. And that time people are afraid and they try to pacify her. They try to quieten her. Are there other elements in Prithvi? See, we mention about the 5 gross elements, Prithvi, Ap, Tej, Vayu and Akash. But according to the philosophy, especially the Panchikarana Siddhanta in the Vedanta, in the Indian philosophy, we have this notion that all the elements exist in every other element in some little or more portion. And therefore it is said that fire exists in Prithvi. The Panchikarana could be cut down to Trivritkarana as well. So Prithvi, Up and Teja, these 3 elements, they are existing in each other. Okay. So fire exists in earth. Fire exists in herbs, in water, and in all the beings. Fire exists in earth, and therefore there is a very typical adjective given to Prithvi. She is called Asita New. New is Janu. New is Janu. Asita is not white. Sita is white. Asita is black. So one who is having black needs, and that is due to the fire within her. So this is a very distinguishing epithet, so to say, of Mother Earth. Her knees are dark because of fire within her. She's covered with rocks. She's covered with small stones and pebbles, dust, trees and herbs. Mahavirya Oshadhihi. It is said that she produces the multiple medicinal herbs having medicinal qualities of various types. So she is Mahavirya Oshadhi. Another very interesting thing, and we learn this from the Vaisheshika Darshana, Vaisheshika Siddhanta, that Gandhavati Prithvi. Gandhavati Prithvi. Prithvi has Gandha as an essential quality. Like, Gandhavati Prithvi, then Prithvi Up, Rasavadbhyaha, Apaha, Rupamattejaha, Sparshavan Vayuhu, and Shabdagunam Akasham. These are the 5 tanmatras which they are said. And earth has Gandha as a subtle element, her tanmatra. And there is a beautiful verse in Atharva Veda, 23rd mantra. It says, Yaste Gandhaha Prithvi. Whatever Gandha is there in you, O Mother Earth, which Pushkaram Avivesha, which has entered the water. The water at every place tests differently. It has the test also because it is Rasavadbhyaha Adbhyaha and then Rasavatyaha Apaha. And it has Gandha also. The water at every place has a different smell as well. So, Yaste Gandha Prithvi Pushkaram Avivesha Yam Sanchabruhu Suryayaha Vivahe Amartyaha Prithvi Tubhyam Te Namam Surabhi Kruno. So that Gandha, O Mother Earth, which prevailed in the Surya Vivaha, which is there in the Atharva Veda 14th Mandala. It's already there in the Rigveda 10th Mandala. So please give that fragrance to me, says the Rishi Atharva. This fragrance exists in human beings as well as in animals. And you all know that how animals, that olfactory, these organs are very strong. They can smell from a distance, and they have their own territorial markings based on the smell of the urine. So this is again an interesting thing, that this fragrance, the Gandha of Prithvi, exists in human beings as well as in animals. East, west, north, south, front, back, above, below. These are the various directions, the Dashadisha. Again, a very important and a very interesting and significant mantra which comes, for digging, for when we are digging the earth. Maybe it is for digging up a well. Maybe you are laying a foundation to construct something, your house, a school, or something else. And then you have to dig up. But then before digging up, you have to beg pardon of Prithvi. You have to ask for kshama, kshama yachana. Whenever I dig you, let it quickly grow over. I don't want Mother Earth, I don't want to hurt you, oh my mother. And so whatever injury I do to you by digging, let it quickly heal over. I don't want to hit your vitals, your marmasthana, or I don't want to pierce your heart, says Rishi Atharva. Mate marma vimrudvari, mate hridayam arpipam. It is very interesting to see that whenever the samhithas are cut from the khadira, the ashwatha and the other trees, shami and others, before cutting the branches with an axe, again there is a mantra, swadhite ma enam himsi. So this is only for the ritual purpose that I'm cutting. I don't want to hurt the tree. I don't want to cut the branches unnecessarily. I don't want to dig up the earth without any purpose, without any reason. And whenever I dig, I don't want to hurt her heart, her vital marma. Marma is the vital portion. Marmasthana, marma chikitsa. You must be aware of that. And she is called Vimrudvari in this. V is the upasarga which talks of Visheshena, and Mrija is the root. Mrija marjana, that is to cleanse, to wipe, to wash, So she is called Vimrudvari, the most cleansing one. And there is a mention of the Samvatsara and the 6 Ritus, Grishma Varsha, Sharad Hemantau, and Shishira Vasantau. She is called Kshma and Kshama in this verse because she is patiently bearing everything. She doesn't complain at all, Again, a very beautiful verse which is quoted very often while praising Prithvi. Vishwambhara Vasudhani Pratishtha. Vishwambhara, she bears all. Vishwa in the Vedic literature doesn't mean Vishwa, that is a word, but Vishwa means all. It is as good as Sarva, a synonym of Sarva, which is a pronoun. So Vishwambhara, all bearing. Vasudhani, Dhani, she sustains, she holds. Vasu, that is wealth, the riches. In her womb, there are so many minerals, so many metals and minerals. That is the wealth she possesses. And in her bosom, from her bosom, she yields all the grains and the crops and the vegetables and the medicines and whatnot. So Vasudhani, she is Pratishtha, she is firmly standing at her place. Hiranyavaksha Jagato Niveshani. She is Niveshani, she gives the room, Niveshana, an abode, a place to live for all the world, for the moving world, Jagat, from Gama to go, Jagataha Niveshani. And again, a very peculiar adjective, Hiranyavaksha. Hiranyavaksha, why? Her bosom is golden. Why golden? When Indra, her lord, he showers abundantly the rains, that is the fructifying fluid, that is the Garbhadhana for the earth. He makes her Pushkalavati, which produces rains, and the ripe grains look golden in color. And therefore she is called Hiranyavaksha, golden bosom. Then Vaishvanaram Vibhrati. Vaishvanara is fire. Vaishvanara, the Niruptakara ask, gives the different quotations. I'll quote only two. Vishwanara enam Veda. All the people know him as Agni, and he knows all the people. Ayam va Vishwanaran Veda iti Vaishwanaraha. So, Vaishwanaram Agnim Bhumihi Bibhrati. This Bhumi bears the Vaishwanara Agni. This Vaishwanara Agni is our Jatara Agni also. When it comes in the human beings, that keeps us warm throughout. And Indra Rushabha Dravine no Tathatu. Indra is the Rushabha, that is the Vrishabha. Again, I told you the two meanings of Vrishabha. One is the showerer of rain, and one is the mighty, the physical prowess it indicates. So, Dravine no Dadhatu, let them give us bountiful blessings in the form of material wealth. So, that is another thing which is asked here. This earth is as good as a cow. Like a cow, the earth gives with many streams, Bhuridhara, Sano Bhumir Bhuridhara, Payo Duha Mato Kshatu Varchasa. May she yield milk. That she really yield milk. In fact, there is a story that this Vainyaha, Prithuruvai Vainyaha, Venat's son Prithu, he milked this cow, and therefore she is named after Prithu, and therefore she is called as Prithvi. Now, when it is said that the earth is a cow and somebody is taking the milk out of her, it is really producing grains and producing oshadis from her bosom. So it is the agricultural activity, you can say, that was started by Prithu. We can have rational interpretations of the Vedic sutras. So Sano Bhumihi Bhuridhara, with multiple streams, that is multiple yields, multiple crops, let her give us abundantly, and let her sprinkle with the splendor. Varchas is the splendor. Varchas is teja, splendor, luster. So let her sprinkle with that luster of the produce, the good, healthy food that will bring glory and splendor to the people. Sahasram Dharara Dravidasya me duham Dhruve vadhenuhu anapaspuranti. So she is like a dhenu who is like a steady dhruva. She doesn't move. Some cows, they don't allow you to milk, but she is the one who allows you. Very benevolent she is, like a steady, unresisting, anapaspuranti, unresisting, unshaking cow. She allows all the people to get the produce from her the way they like. Multiple crops we take from her. Tranquil, she's fragrant, she's pleasant, with sweet milk in her udder. May she bless me with her milk. Bhumihi adhibravitu me prithivi payasa saha. So let that Bhumi give me abundant milk. And therefore she is called Kamadugha, Kamadhenu. She is as if the wish-fulfilling cow. We have Kamadhenu, we have Kalpavruksha. So these are some concepts which we have. So Prithvi is like a Kamadhenu. She bears the bipeds and the quadrupeds. Everywhere in the Vedic mantras, it is Shanno Dvipade Sham Chatushpade Bhava. Let there be, a Mangala, Sham, Mangala, well-being for the bipeds, Dvipade, and Sham Chatushpade, the quadrupeds. Then there is Tavaime Prithvi Panchamanava. Panchajana is a peculiar term which is used right from the Rig Veda. In the entire Vedic corpus, we have this term, and there are various interpretations. Just to give you quickly one or two, Sayanacharya, the first known commentator, fully available commentary of Rig Veda, Atharva Veda, etc. He says they are Nishada Panchamaha Chaturvarnaha. They are the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and Nishada. These are called the Panchajana. Another interpretation is Gandharva, Pitrus, Deva, Asura, and Rakshasa. All the progeny of the Kashyapa from his various wives, Diti, Aditi, Danu, Kadru, Vinata, etc., etc. Or a simple, etymological explanation could be Panchabhihi Bhutaihi Janyate Asau Panchajanaha. This is the Jana, this is the human being who is the mankind in totality, who is Janyate, who is born of Panchabhihi. Who are these five? The Bhutas, the Panchamahabhutas. So the mankind is made up of the Panchamahabhutas and is going to merge and dissolve into the Panchamahabhutas. So this means simply the human being per se. She produces various medicinal herbs. We thought of this, that there are Bahuvirya Oshadhayaha, and there are Shatakratyaha Oshadhayaha. In the Oshadhi Sukta of the Rigveda, Oshadhis are called Shatakratyaha. They have got hundreds of healing and curing or preventive powers. Shivam Siyonam Anucharema Vishwaha. What does a Rishi wishes? What does he wish? He wishes that let us trade upon this earth. Let us wander around this earth leisurely at our own pace. Shivam Siyonam. The very Kalyanakaraka, Mangalakaraka, the most auspicious and the most loving, compassionate and the caretaking mother, as the child will play on her mother, we are also playing on this motherland. May we go around on this auspicious and pleasant earth. She's again all bearer, the wild and the mild. Not only the bipeds and the quadrupeds, she bears the reptiles and even the worms. The biggest reptiles to the smallest worms and insects, she bears all. Protect me from poisonous snakes, scorpions and crawling worms. I have just given some numbers in the bracket so that those who are, the seekers of knowledge can go to the original sukta and check for yourself, Protect me from the poisonous snakes and scorpions, etc. Protect me from the wild beasts, the lions, the tigers, and the man-eaters, Purushadaha. These are all like ferocious forest beasts. So protect me from those beastly animals, from the jackals and the wolves who would gobble me up. Keep me away from the Gandharvas, the Apsaras, the Pishachas, and the demons, because they are the haunting evil spirits. So let me not get affected. Oh Mother Earth, please protect me from all these bad, evil things. So that is again a prayer. One more verse, Janam Bibhrati Bahudha Vivachasam. I wanted to have this, especially when in Indian soil we talk about India is a multilingual, multi-religion, a land of various religions, various tongues, various customs and practices and whatnot. So, but we follow the principle of unity in diversity. So, Janam Bibhrati Bahudha Vivachasam, the first ever reference to that we can find in the Tharva Veda. Janam Bibhrati Bahudha Vivachasam, Vivachasam, Vividhaha Vachaha Vadanti Ye Manava. People speak in various tongues. So, all those people she is holding, she is bearing. Nana Dharmanam, practicing different customs, different practices, different religions, different duties, their own dharma. Yatha Aukasam, as if in the same home. Okas is a home, a need, a nest, need in Hindi. So this is Okas, and therefore the gods are called Divaukasaha. Dyuloka, heavenly world, is their Okas, is their abode. Okay? So Yatha Aukasam, as in one house, people stay, together. This has a reference not to the micro families. We are living in silos now. but the joint. There are old people, there are young people, there are small children, there are some people who are working, there are some people who don't work, but they are fed 3 meals a day. Right? So this is, I mean, all people are not of equal stature, equal age, equal gender, equal whatever equanimity, whatever they, I'm sorry, here the lights have gone, they will come back again. So, but then you have to bear with me for a while. So, Nana Dharmanam Prithvi Yatha Aukasam, as in one house, the householder, the main person, he takes care of all the inmates. Similarly, this Mother Earth, as a motherly divine figure, she takes care of all the people. Sahasram Dhara Dravinasya Meduha Dhruveva Dhenuhu Anapaspuranti. We saw this. May she yield me 1,000 streams of prosperity. Dravina is wealth. It may not mean the cash. It could be the material prosperity, like a steady and unresisting cow. Now, Mother Earth was likened with a cow. Now she is likened with a mother prop. There are 2-3 references in verse number 10, 12, and verse number 63. She is referred to as mother, as Mata. Sano bhumihi visrujatam Mata putraya me payaha. Me putraya, I am her kid. I am her young son. And bhumihi Mata, let that Mother Earth, payaha visrujatam, let her release milk for me. Let her breast feed me like a small child. And let her nourish me with her stanya, with her breast milk. Then Mata Bhumihi Putroham Prithivya. What a sentence, these are like the Subhashitas. Bhumi is my Mata and I am her son. I am her child. And as a child will take care of her mother in the old days, when she is ailing, every human being must take care of the Mother Earth because she is his mother, his or her mother. And she doesn't hesitate, in sacrificing everything so that the child gets nourished. As a mother would do everything for her child, she leaves no stone unturned in nourishing the child. It is the bounden duty of the child to take care of the mother whenever she is in need of it. Bhume matar nidhehi ma bhadraya supratishthitam. O Mother Earth, Mataha, here is a sambodhana, a vocative. O Bhumi, O Mata, O Mother Earth, please settle with kindness, Bhadraya, Nidhehi, Supratishtitam, the well-established, O you be well-established, and please settle with all Bhadra, all Kalyana, all Sham, all Mangalam for me. How the seer seeks concord or harmony, In the Rigveda we have Sangachadvam, Sambadadvam, Samno Vanansi, Samvo Manamsi Jan Hasatam, and Samaniva Putihi, Samana Hridayaniva. Here we are different type of people staying here. We are dancing, we are playing, we are singing, we are digging, we are doing what not on this earth, and she allows us to do all that. Because we are all like Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the entire Vasudha, Vasuni Dharayati iti Vasudha. She is like a Kutumba, she is like a family, and therefore, Mano Dvikshata Kaschana. Let us not hate each other. What a lofty message. What a very, very profound message, especially in these difficult times of pandemic, when everybody is looking at other person with suspicion. This message carries an extra mile for us. Let's stay here without hating each other. Mano Dvikshata Kaschana. Why? Because we are all staying on her, doing the things which we like. Yasyam Gayanti Nrityanti, etc. Here, enemies are there. It's not all our friends. There are some foes. They fight. But then, please, O Mother Earth, take care of me and spare me from such evil forces, such wicked people. Make me free from the rivals. Asapatnam prunotu. This is again a very peculiar word, sapatna. Sapatni is a word perhaps you know. Sapatni is south, a co-wife. Okay, a co-wife, husband's another wife is sapatni. So, and no co-wives can stay, in harmony with one husband, and therefore they are as good as foes, as good as, I mean, they have inimical tendencies between them, and therefore sapatna comes to mean as enemy. Asapatnam prunotu, let her make me without enemies, free from rivals, free from opponents. And then, if she is doing so much for me, what should I do for her? मेरा भी तो कर्तव्य बनता है. This is something which I must do for my mother. What I should do? ये ग्रामाः यदरण्यं याः सभाः अधिभूम्यां ये संग्रामाः समितयः तेषु चारुवदेम. Be it the villages, be it the forest, be it the assemblies on this earth, be it the battlefields, or be it the gathering places, samiti. Samiti is the place where people gather to discuss something, the parishad, So, sangramaha samitayaha, whatever be the place on this earth, charu vade mate, let us speak good of Mother Earth. Let us all strive for her goodness, for her well-being, so that she will be in a position to take care of us for longer time. Yadvadami, whatever I speak, madhumat tadvadami, let me speak filled with honey. Nectarine words I should speak for Mother Earth. Yadikshe tadvananti, whatever I see, that should be the desirable thing which I should see. The undesirable things I should not be able to see. That means, please make me devoid of the undesirable, all the evil, all the rival, all the wicked, all those things. And Vishiman Asmi, Jyotiman, Anyan Hanmi Dodataha. Let me be strong, Vishiman, with martial power. Jyotiman, Jyoti is Vega, Tvara. Let me be very speedy, very fast in taking care of my mother. And avahanmi dodhataha anya. If there are other people who are doing bad, who are injuring, who are hurting my mother, let me, hanmi, avahanmi, let me at least try to discourage them from doing that bad thing, or let me strike at them, let me hit them, let me kill them, let me not allow them to do any injury to my mother. So again, this is a very, very good message that it is not, it doesn't suffice that I alone would do and would do all good for her. I will speak good about her, but I must also take care that others also speak good of her. Others also will not try to hurt her or injure her. I am taking every care, praying her before digging. Let others also do the same thing. So, highest tribute to the Mother Earth. Upasthaste anamiva ayakshma. Asmabhyam santu prithivi prasutaha. Dirgham na ayuhu pratibudhyamana. Vayam tubhyam baliritasyama. May things produced from you, Prithivi, Prasutaha, for whom Asmabhyam, whatever you produce for us, Upasthaha, by you, let it be healthy, free from diseases, free from yakshma. Amivaha. Amiva is disease. Amoeba is cognate, with the word amoeba, but amoeba is disease, so free from diseases. A yakshma is again a generic name for, later on it meant, a tuberculosis, Raja Yakshma, consumption, but Yakshma also means, it could be generically any illness or sickness, and let all the produces will be free from diseases and free from yakshma and all, so that we may live long, knowing about this, that you are producing healthy food for us, may we live long. Let us eat healthy and let us live long. See, this is the Pravritti Marga. This is a very optimistic approach of the seers, that let us live for 100 years. Nobody wishes that, no, let me die when the corona comes. I want to fight it and I want to live long, because I have so many things to do, not for myself, not for my material welfare, but it is as my duty to Mother Earth. She has given me in bounties. Let me repay in whatever best way I can. And therefore, Vayam Tubhyam Baliritaha Syama. Hum tumpe nichavar ho jaye. May we be tribute bearers to you. Baliritaha. Hum balidan karenge. Hamara sheesh chadhayenge. So this is the way, I was telling you that Pandit Sripad Damodar Satyavadekar, a freedom fighter himself, he thought it to be a national anthem for the freedom fighters, because with this they fought. With this as an anthem, they had that spirit. Let us go, let us be martyrs, but we must fight for our freedom. So let us sacrifice ourselves for you, O Mother Earth. So I think I should stop with this very good message. And Mata Bhumihi Putroham Prithivyaha and Vayam Tubhyam Baliritaha Syama. I think these are the two best messages a person can ever have from this Atharva Vedic Sukta. Thank you so much. In fact, I wanted to end with a Kshama Sukta, Kshama Shloka, which we recite every day morning, Samudra Vasane Devi, Parvatastana Mandale, Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam, Padasparsham Kshamaswami. We alight from our bed and touch the Mother Earth. Before touching the earth, we have to beg her forgiveness for touching her, trading her on with our feet. It's like touching our mother by our foot. We don't do that, right? And therefore, Samudra Vasane Devi. Her attire is the Samudra. Parvatastana Mandala. And a very clever use of Parvatastana Mandala is done by Kalidasa in Meghaduta. Okay, when it talks Amarakantaka as her bosom, her breast. So very beautifully poetic imagination he has done. Parvatastana Mandale. And Vishnu Patni, she is the Bhudevi, Shri Devi. These are the two Patnis, right? So Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam, Padasparsham Kshamaswami. Please forgive me touching you by my foot.
Two questions from me. One, in a lot of traditional spiritual literature, they describe Prithvi as Jad, matter. But this sukta makes it come so alive. I don't think there is anything. I would like you to say something about it.
This is the personification, I should say. See, philosophically, Prithvi is Jada. All the Pancha Mahabhutas are Jada. Prithvi, Ap, Tej, Vayu, and even Akasha is Jada. There is only one Chaitanya principle, that is Brahman. That is the highest philosophical truth. Everything else is inanimate. Everything else is Jada, insentient. So Prithvi is Jada. But when we have that motherly affection for Prithvi, she becomes live. She becomes like our mother, right? So this is the personification. In fact, in all the Vedic sutras, all we have is the personified natural phenomena as the deities. So Prithvi is no exception.
Ma'am, I had two questions.
Yes,
One was, the first one is an observation.
yes.
Uh, in the verse 35 that you said, where the speaker, begs apology before digging the earth.
Mhm.
So I think that becomes a very, very good example of the reconciliation between nature and culture, or say nature and civilization. Because
Yes,
otherwise, today, especially in the modern times, these both are considered mutually exclusive. So if there is nature, it is at the cost of, say, culture or civilization, and if you
yeah.
have to see cultures or civilization, it is at the cost of nature.
You
Uh,
said it, Parth. You said it. It has to be nature plus culture, and it is nature plus nurture. It is nurturing is possible only with culture, right?
I have some very dreamy or unrealistic belief that the earth will heal herself. It's unrealistic belief that the earth will heal herself.
Yeah, yeah.
What do the shastras say about that?
In fact, in the Puranas, we have these stories. Prithvi was overburdened, and therefore she came to Indra Sabha. And then she said, "Oh, ye sanghar karna hai inko, because I am overburdened by these people. So you please take an incarnation and lessen my burden." So this comes as a story, in the Puranas. Many of our stories come like this only. Prithvi came to the Indra Sabha while Indra was ruling, all these stories. So it is very true. I mean, man unrestrainedly and greedily, when we say there is enough with the earth to give everybody's need, but not to the greed. And people are being greedy. Human beings are very greedy. We don't take what we need, we store what is not needed, and we are becoming very greedy. So there is not enough for the greed of a person, there is enough for the need. And when we do that greedily, it's a reaction, right? And that is like shrugging the shoulder and expressing her anger and displeasure at the activities.
So when I go through, if I recall what you have said, it gives me a feeling of gratitude, obligation, belonging towards Mother Earth. At the same time, there is this Western phenomena which says, save the planet, save Earth, which seems very condescending, very authoritative, as if I have to save the Earth, forgetting the fact that I need to have a sustainable relationship with the Earth, where I know that my extraction has to be to a limit and I need to give something back. And there was a popular guru, very popular guru in southern India, who said that finally West is realizing the Indian way of looking at Mother Earth. But I do not agree with that fact. Our way of looking at it is very different from saying
Very different, yeah.
So what do you say about that?
I think ours is the best, not because it is ours, but it is really a very, family type of relation when it brings in. And the mother-child relation is incomparable, right? It's unparalleled in the world. Nobody can be so close to the mother as her own child, and the mother to the child than anybody else, right? And therefore, I think this is the most, what I can say, the filial relation, the family relation, and the closest to one's heart. And secondly, I will feel proud that, oh, this has come from my ancestors.
I think I got the answer to my question, that yes, it is not the dharmic way of looking at things, but somehow, today when people celebrate Earth's Day, Mother's Day, I don't understand this fact that why do we need to have this one day? It's
Exactly.
a relationship every day, right?
But then we have, shortened it to one day. No, Mother's Day is also one day. Why
Yes.
Mother's Day should be all over the year? All 365 days it should be Mother's Day. It's only one International Women's Day. Why only one day? Every day is a Woman's Day. Every day is a Mother's Day, right? So this has become like a Western concept, and we are like blindly aping that and following that. It's not good in a way. I mean, it's good in a way that they have at least identified a day to hand wash day also. What is hand wash day? right? So, but then at least, there is some awareness, at least for a day, you think of Mother Earth. So 22nd April, Earth Day.
Namaste, Gauriji. Thank you so much. Most of us cannot read Sanskrit and most of us cannot read Rig Veda. So thank you so much for making it so easy for us to understand and appreciate it. Like Jashoda said, we need to, this whole personification that you introduced us to, it makes us far more easy to relate to Earth than just see it as, road. And, unfortunately, these days we hardly see Earth in its raw form. We see only concrete. We hardly have actual Earth on which we can feel the energy of it. Concrete is blocking it. So that helps us, kind of relate to it so much better. And if these suktas were chanted regularly, hopefully at schools, we will probably think 1,000 times before being back to Earth.
We are.
1,000 times if we have this bhav towards her. So right now, Earth Day is only saying that it's being something cool. There's something cool about being Earth Day or switching off your lights for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It's meaningless, we know, because far more energy is spent in promoting those Earth Days. Whatever energy you save in 10 minutes, we are actually spending far more in promoting it, spending far more resources. So I don't know if there is a way to bring it back into our consciousness by teaching children to recite it somewhere.
I think we should start. You said that most of us can't read Sanskrit, and therefore somebody has to bring it home. So I have been trying it to my level best, and there are some people here I can see who are regularly attending some of such talks, where I bring it, the Indian knowledge systems through English. I mean, this is not propagating my lecture series, but then Parth, for example, has come from Rajkot, and he's an English professor, and how his students are attending the lectures, and, it's amazing. I mean, the change can be there. Somebody has to start. And why English? Because English is the common language now. The world can understand a little bit English, most of the people, and therefore I am doing it in English. So, but I am like hopeful that if not the ancient Gurukula per se, as we had, but then some form of the Gurukula can be brought in if we really wish to do so. Right?
Thank you very much for a very informative lecture, very inspiring lecture. And I have a question. Maybe this sounds contrarian, but all the selection, I understand that the Prithvi Sukta is quite a long section of the Atharvaveda.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you said, but all the selections you made somehow seem to be anthropocentric, which seem to go against this received wisdom that it's highly environmental conscious and so on. But it seems to be very anthropocentric. I mean, you can turn that mother-child relationship on its head and say that, you think that maybe the world has an obligation towards you, just as a mother has an obligation towards a child, no questions asked, right? So is it as anthropocentric throughout the sukta, or, maybe it is more about all creation? I mean, what is your feeling about it?
I feel it is more anthropocentric because it is written by a man, it is composed by a human being. I mean, seer, right? And it has to, because when we think of something, it has to be the human centric, the anthropocentric, right? And therefore there is no doubt. And the selection which I did, as you rightly observed, is very good. I mean, your observation I must appreciate. I did choose such verses mostly. Okay. Either the cow and the calf, or the mother and the child, because that is what we need now, because the mother is crying and we are not listening to her. So this is high time that we do listen to her cries and her lamentations. Otherwise, this will be again submerged in the ocean where she was thousands of years back.
I haven't heard of the Bhumi Suktam. It was very enlightening. One question I had is, would you know of any mining community or institution which uses that particular shloka before digging the soil, asking for forgiveness and
I don't know. I don't know really, but I think this is a doable thing. I mean, whenever we dig, we should do that. I mean, we can start that practice even now. Nothing is too late to start. So we can start. And we should, whenever we take up, for example, when we had our Chinmaya Vishwa Vidyapita Bhumi Pujan, we did recite some of the shlokas from the Bhumi Sukta and some shlokas from the Vastushpati Sukta. So, but this is like when we are doing it in Chinmaya, but whenever a big work like this, major undertaking is going on, we should do that. That is showing our gratefulness and gratitude to Mother Earth, nothing else. I mean, we as it is do the puja, right? Bhumi puja. We don't dig up the earth like that. We just try to pacify her and then put an axe, right?
We say we have to repay everything we get. So what can you tell us, elaborate more on it? Because I think sometimes it's correct, but sometimes it's not correct. Okay.
I mean, mother never expects the repayment from a child. Right? Mother never expects, but it is the child's duty to repay. She won't expect. Mother won't expect. Similarly, the Mother Earth won't expect from us, but it is our duty to repay. It's not a give and take bargain. It's not a treaty in that way. It's not a contract which is signed between two parties. It's more of a family relation which obliges a person to repay the runa, the debt of a mother. Right? I think that would answer this. There can't be a contract. You gave me this much, so I want to give you this. Right? It's not a contract like that. It's much more and beyond the contract.
Thank you for enlightening talk. And actually, I gave a Sangam talk on comparing Manvantara cycles with supercontinent cycles. And whatever you described about the Earth is so beautiful that we can apply and see in Earth history whatever has been described. Earth has so many names and each has meaning, and everything is we can apply to geology and see. We can correlate with whatever our ancestors talked about and then see it in the Earth history. And it's really beautiful, and I appreciate you talking about this. But I urge everybody to see that talk as well. And then it's all not like a praising somebody, it's all real. That's what I want to add to your talk.
Thanks for your kind words.
When we come across the words Bhumi and Prithvi in this particular sukta, so are we to draw some fine line of difference, or do they mean the same? I mean, etymologically, does the meaning change when we read through these shlokas?
Yeah, there are like Gauhu, Kshma, Kshma, Dhara, etc. Ekavimshati Prithvi Namadeyani. That is how Nighantu would start and Nirukta would comment on that. Every word has a detail, a finer, a nuance in the meaning. For example, Bhumi would be like Bhuma, and Bhuma is Yovai Bhuma Tad Brahma. In the Chandogya Upanishad it is said, that which is great, that is Brahman. Because Brahman is from root Brumha, to grow. So Brumha, Bhuma, so that gives the greatness, the loftiness of the earth, whereas Prithvi is the vastness horizontally, she's spread out, So every word will give a different shade of meaning. Ultimately it is earth, but then every word has a different meaning.
In the particular shloka, if say the Rishi has used Prithvi in place of Bhumi, so I mean that would help us to interpret it better if we know the fine difference.
The etymological meaning, yes.
So this is about the meaning again. So I just want to know, I mean, when you read these suktas from the Shruti, what method do you actually follow to understand the meaning? Do you go from Nirukta and then to some commentary and then finally arrive at the meaning? Or do you take some authority and then directly give the meaning? What is the method you follow?
It's a good question. I would say, because I am a lover of Nirukta, Yaskacharya, etymological meaning, I feel, that is the correct way, or like unquestionable way of interpreting the meaning, interpreting the verse, the Vedic verse. And secondly, I have strong trust and faith in Sayanacharya. So Sayanacharya, because I feel, Yaskacharya is the first commentator, you can say, but he has not commented on all the suttas, right? Whereas Sayanacharya has commented on all the Vedas. Okay, and therefore Sayanacharya's commentary also I trust. So I normally go by these two, Yaskacharya and Sayanacharya.
But I just want to add one small point.
Hmm.
When we do Sandhya in afternoon and when we do Sandhya Vandana, morning, afternoon, evening, we are supposed to do it. We pray to Vayu, we pray to all the 5 elements. And Bhumi also is a part of it. Every day it is done, and it is done thrice a day. Because many of these young people who are asking, should this be a part of our, before we start digging and things like that. I have seen it whenever we start digging for a house, फाउंडेशन के लिए करते हैं, मंदिर के लिए करते हैं, तो from Bhumi Suktam this certain things are definitely being उच्चारण जरूर करते हैं. Of course, most of us don't understand it. We just Pandit ji करते हैं, तो we just listen to it. But these are being done even today in our country, and you have seen our own Prime Minister sitting there and doing a lot of things which never used to happen before. So some of these youngsters who are asking and who have doubts, I would just like them to go through what our Sandhya says.
Right.
Doing all that. So all is not lost. Not yet.
Yeah, all is not lost, I mean.
But yet.
Yeah. It's still there. Wherever some rituals are performed, even now it is performed. Yeah. So, but where it is not performed, we need to revive it.
Pranam, Dr. Gauriji. I have a very basic question. I don't know if it makes sense or not, but I've read quite a few Western spiritual gurus that they call themselves, but they talk about the burden on the earth. And one of the main burdens on the earth is the population. And they say that we should stop producing kids, because then what's the point of burdening the earth with there's already so much kids, That never resonates with me. I don't know why. Because there can never be a conflict between Srishti and Bhumi. And I know in a lot of developed countries, there is food that goes to waste in such an amount that it can feed half of the earth. So why don't you talk about those things which can be managed? That is abuse of the earth. It is their, brown man's burden to curb their population. And the other people are, populating like anything. Because I don't see a conflict between Bhumi and Srishti. Yes, there can be a conflict between abuse and Bhumi. So could you just kind of give an answer to that? Is there a conflict between Bhumi and Srishti, or is it abuse?
I think the use, the misuse and abuse of Mother Earth, if that is cleverly decided and we cleverly make a judicious use, then the population, etc., they don't hold good. These are very lame excuses, I would say, because Srishti, to create, to produce, to generate, regenerate is the very sthayi bhava, is the very nature. It is from root srija, to create. And therefore, how can we have any conflict between Srishti? And how can we have any conflict between Srishti and Bhumi? Srija, the very root meaning of Srija is to create. So she is a very creative energy, creative force. And therefore the population, etc., are the lame excuses, I say. So we must have the judicious use, and we should stop misuse and abuse. Then there is enough to feed the entire world.
I don't have a question per se. It's just that this discussion, made me think of something else, which is called carrying capacity. Okay,
Terrain
because the
capacity.
resources that we need are not evenly spread out. So, I mean, if you look at history, all the great civilizations have grown up in river valleys for a reason. So, 1,000 people in one place is not the same as 1,000 people in another place. So, I don't think we can say that you should have more population or you have less population. The question is, what is the carrying capacity and at what level of consumption? Because it's very clear from all ecological studies, whether human or animal, if there are too many elephants in one place, they will ruin the forest for miles around. They require much more land, and there comes a limit after which the elephants have to be culled. I mean, this is all our experience from so many years of ecology. So I think it would not be correct to say that because Earth is creative, she would tolerate every kind of creation and procreation and so on and so forth. Clearly, there are limits as to where she will tolerate and where she will not. That's all
I think, yeah, that's a very, from the answer given from ecological and environmental point of view. I think the discussion is going on beyond the scope of Atharva Vediya Bhumi
Yes,
Sukta.
yes. Padma, please take it back. Please moderate.
Yes.
Yeah. Gauriji, I have always been very enamored by a concept that when Sita went back to the earth, when she came from the earth, she was the earth's daughter, and later on after the Uttarkanda of the Ramayana, when Ram invited her back, she refused. She went back to the earth, to her mother's home, and they say that Sita Prithvi mein sama gayi, and all that was left of her was the ends of her hair, which is the grass that we see. And this is
that's a story. I mean, in Valmiki Ramayana, it's not like that. It's only like she prayed Madhavi Vivaram Me Dehi. There are 3-4 verses, and then Madhavi, that is again Prithvi, she just opened up. There was a split on the ground, and up came the Mother Earth in a golden throne, propped up by the Sarpas, the Nagas, and she took her in her lap and went down. That is the thing. I mean, the Keshas remained and that became grass. That is, I think, another story that's not in Valmiki Ramayana.